Well, certainly it was a hard-fought, game for the longest time, and we just didn't get the outcome that we were looking for. I thought our guys were prepared to play early on in the game. It's Delaware State's homecoming, so I didn't have a lot of people there, but just with the weather, it was another hostile environment. Not a road that we hadn't been down before, so we were prepared for that, I thought. I thought Delaware State just, in hindsight, while I was there, they just wanted to win the game more. They came out and ran the ball extremely tough, extremely hard. Nothing that we thought they were going to we knew they were going to do that. But they made the plays, the necessary plays that they needed to make throughout the whole course of the game. A couple of times we were in really good position on some coverage passes, and the receiver just snagged that ball right out of the air. And we couldn't get on the DBs, and they just didn't make a play. A couple of times in the run game, we had our gaps. Individuals were there, and their ball carrier just churned his feet. And a couple more extra times, and we fell off at a tackle, and they hit pay dirt. And we had that. We battled. I don't know if we really fought. I thought Delaware State they fought for that game. Every second, every play, we battled. And we battled. I thought we were set to make a good comeback in the second half. And, losing our quarterback prior to that kind of, that took the wind out of our sails a little bit. It was really, really hard to regroup. But nevertheless, I'm really, really proud of our guys. I thought they fought to the end. I thought they battled. I just thought it came down to about 4 or 5 plays where Delaware State made those plays convincingly, solidly, and we did not.
What's the official status on Chauncey?
Chauncey Caldwell, he suffered a foot injury, and he's out for this season.
We have to have surgery or anything?
Yes, he's scheduled to have surgery tomorrow.
How big of a blow is that? Because it seemed like he was just hitting his stride.
I kind of did a poll of just the coaching staff and what their thoughts were, because I was thinking the same thing, and sometimes, you never know who's thinking different. And one to a man, all convincingly stood up and said, we're winning the game. And I only did this for the defensive guys. We like to think we're objective, and it's a different view. But everyone could see the game really coming to Chauncey. You could see the game opening up, the run play, the pass plays. I mean, he was starting to see the picture clearly after getting off to somewhat of a shaky start. He was starting to. The game was really coming to him, and he brings a certain type of energy and passion because of the kind of player he is. And I have no doubt that our players feed off of that. And that would have been a force for them to really contend with going forward. We just weren't able to get that same type of vibe, energy in the second half.
So was it kind of like a shell shock for your team after he was gone, second quarter, third quarter?
Yeah, it wasn't a shell shock. It was just it was a bit of a blow. It was about, okay, now, we're kind of working one way. We let them score 21 points the first half, which is, not good. And, we know 2 scores down, we have a chance still. Certainly with Chauncey being the kind of leader and playmaker he is, we always have a chance to come back, we feel. But then when that option was no longer there, it kind of like, okay, this is going to be a lot more tougher than what we anticipated would be.
Obviously, the bright side is you have Nayo, who has plenty of experience.
Yes. It's great to have a young man like that that's had plenty and won football games. And so, it's next man up. It has been that, all throughout the season. Football's a game of attrition, we know. And so Nayo will have a great opportunity to show what he can do. Dominic Schaffner is going to be ready to go as well. And, it's just the next man up. But Nayo is very confident that he'll be able to carry out with a really good full week of preparation as a lead guy what we plan on doing.
What was it that you would say was most disappointing?
That we just didn't match their intensity with so much to play for. A chance to go 3-1 in the conference and really, really chase the goal of potentially being there for a MEAC championship or to have a real strong say-so in the matter, and also that to have a winning record at the time. And I think I've commented before about how this team has to learn they've got to learn to win. They've got to learn to handle success, and this is just all part of the process. When I look back at the film, like I said, I could not. Challenge their efforts, but there's still a certain level of intensity to win those type of games that you have to have. And We definitely didn't have it on Saturday.
The disappointment that comes from you, Coach, in your team, as far as not showing up. I mean, I'm sure you and the coaching staff prepared them as much as you could to let them know, don't look at their record and, take them for granted or whatnot, and for them to still not do that. How disappointing is that for you?
That is disappointing. If I had the magic formula, I would bottle it and sell it to coaches. I think I've been on record as saying, to the defensive staff, something just didn't seem right in looking at Del State. Something just didn't seem right, and I just really couldn't put my finger on it. The film never really fully revealed what their record was, and so I tried to warn our players of that. We tried to do some things. We really tried to stay consistent. We talked about the weather, probably talked about it a little too much, but we spoke about the weather the way it was going to be. Coming off of the Norfolk game, we didn't anticipate that would be a big adjustment, that we'd been down that road before. But I think the physicality and just the desire of Del State, we never matched that. Some other areas and many other things we did, but the desire to win that game, to have successful plays, we never matched that. And that proved to be our demise on that day.
4 games remaining, MEAC championship, probably a long shot with FAMU still undefeated. What do you do to make sure your guys stay locked in? You don't lose them the rest of the way.
I think that's a great question. I think we still have goals to have a winning season without question, to defend our home field, and that's what this is. To be 500 with a chance for a winning season. Those are things that we still preach about. It's not the higher up goals, but it's nevertheless it's another goal. And so I think you have to put goals in front of young people. Certainly in this type of sport, in order to motivate them, to get them to play for something. And some young men are playing for opportunities or increased opportunities. And so if we can kind of keep those things out in front, we'll get their very best on game day. And I'm good with that, however the results end up.
This is homecoming coming up, and a lot of people have a lot of pride around here for homecoming games and everything. Have you heard anything from folks around campus, fans, whatever, about this homecoming?
Not as of yet, but having been in this environment before, I am expecting to hear a mouthful or earful. And I think, in the next couple days, as alumni come back, there'll be some, former players coming in, wanting to meet with the guys, and, get around the guys and say a few positive words. I am always open to that. I am big on alums, whether they play sports or didn't, but if they have a connection with the university, sharing really their story. I think it's important that the young man that we currently coach understand that this is just much more than you. This is about those who have been here before. And there's a great sense of pride that comes with that. And so we want to win this game for our alums. We want to win it for ourselves. We want to win it for our school, and we want to win it for our football program. So there's a lot at stake here for us.
This will be your first time kind of handling all the outside stuff that comes along with the homecoming week. Have you thought much about that?
I really haven't given much thought. I'll be honest with you. I'm trying not to let some things creep in. So I'm just looking at the itinerary and what our plans are to when we're with the players and what we're preparing for, and have kind of left it open to whatever surprises comes up, I'll just deal with it at that point in time, hoping that not much will happen at all, other than just preparing for a football game, pretty much in the regular way we do.
Human nature again. You're facing a team that I'm sure your players haven't heard of at Waters. There's no one in the conference. So how do you make sure you don't fall into that trap?
Yeah, great question. This one's a little more tricky because there's not a template or a background or anything. With us playing these guys, certainly in my time here, and the players. And I think what they learned from last week, what we have to learn is that I told them every player that plays the game, overwhelming majority, has a certain sense of pride. So you have to put the records or what they've done in the past, out of them. I share with them, Dallas Cowboys many years ago with Tony Romo. They weren't doing very well. And everyone was saying they're bad and this and that, and they were great underdogs. And I just remember, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I just remember they came out and they just handed it to some other team. And that's because they have pride. They're grown men. And on our level, they're similar. These guys Edward Waters has guys on scholarship. They were recruited by, other schools, some big schools, some small schools. And so when you get out there on the field, you have to meet that challenge. If not, you'll be embarrassed or you'll be upset with the outcome. And so, that's what I'm kind of warning them, that this is a winning team. They got a winning record. I think up to 2 weeks ago, they were ranked in the HBCU top 10 nationally, NAIA schools. So that just goes to show that, you're dealing with some guys here that can get it done, better rise to the challenge.
I want to go back to Chauncey for a second. Since you guys have been back, have you spoken with him, and if so, what's his spirits been like?
Well, he's a real happy-go-lucky guy. I mean, I'm really impressed of how he's always, I won't say fired up, but positive. We spoke on the phone a couple nights ago, or just the other night. I really wanted him to know how I felt about him and what he had done for this team. And like I say about Chauncey, the thing that I've been most pleased and impressed about is, just how much he has grown up in a leadership role. And it's taken some steps. It didn't all happen at once. Certainly this year, it's just so unfortunate that, he and we are not able to go down that same road here. But I'm sure he'll be around for his teammates. I know I plan on seeing him tomorrow, Lord willing, for a little bit. But he really needs to know from myself, coaching staff. I think he already knows from his teammates what a positive he has been for us, not just on the field, but off the field as well.
This has been an exclusive presentation of the NCCU Sports Network.